This is the Music Maestro podcast, a show that gets beneath the skin of the music business by speaking to the people that live and breathe this industry. In every show, we deep dive into hot topics to explore what's happening right now and what the future holds. Plus, we talk about career paths, music tastes, and more. This episode is the first, and for our debut, we have Benji Gershon, the founder of creative agency amitybloc and creative consultant for EMI. Benji Gershon.
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 Where's the name from?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
I don't actually know.
All right.
But people pronounce it wrong all the time. Gershon.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about being the first guest on Music Maestro?
I was actually thinking on my way here.
Honoured, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to share some knowledge.
Okay. Introduce yourself. Who is Benji Gershon and what do you do?
I am Benji Gershon.
Yeah.
And I run a company called amitybloc, which is a creative agency. It does content direction, creative direction, campaign direction, and
yeah. I mean, we're gonna get into what amitybloc is in a bit.
That's my line that I say to people, but I kind of tell different people different things.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
So
what can it be?
So to labels, I say it's an agency.
Okay.
Because I feel like that sounds more professional, and that sounds like stuff will get delivered on time, or there's like a sense of urgency there. I tell artists it's a creative studio because I don't feel like artists would want to like apply their creative vision to an agency, but to a creative studio, it feels a little bit more collaborative.
Yeah, good. So what I want to do is go to the very beginning. What was your earliest exposure to music?
Wow. My earliest exposure to music was probably waiting for my sister to get picked up from school in my dad's car, listening to BBC Radio 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any particular songs?
Roy Orbison.
Right.
Yeah. Buddy Holly. He had a cassette. He's still alive, but he has cassettes. And I just remember listening to the same songs again and again and again. And
what were these songs?
Like Crying by
the name of the song.
Yeah. Crying by Roy Orbison.
Right. Okay.
Peggy Sue by Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
There's probably a bit of Stevie Wonder in there. Queen. My mum played a lot of Queen.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And so when you first got into music, what were you into?
I was very much of the, I think people called it the landfill indie.
Landfill indie? I've never heard of that as a genre.
Yeah, it's all the bands.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But number one was Arctic Monkeys for sure.
That's not a the.
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, people might say the Arctic Monkeys as part of that generation. But yeah, I actually thought Kerrang was a genre of music because it was like, when people said, what do you listen to? I used to say just Kerrang. I didn't actually know it was a radio station or magazine. I just thought it was a genre of music.
Yeah, I guess a bit like Head Candy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a creative, right?
Yeah.
Very good one.
Some might say.
Of the creatives I've worked with, you're the second best I know.
Why did you've obviously planned that?
Yeah, I have.
Well, who's the first?
James Worsley.
James Worsley.
Autobahn. He did like.
Oh, yes. James and Pedro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Pedro, I should say Pedro as well.
What is, out of interest, what have they got that I'm lacking? I'm always up for self-improvement.
I'm not going to go into detail right now.
Okay.
I think that's an off-camera thing that we can do.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
But just be safe in the knowledge that you're second.
Based on the people you've worked with, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as a creative, like obviously there's the music thing. When did you start thinking like, I'm pretty good at this, I should maybe make a career out of it?
I have acknowledged that once, and it was at Ministry of Sound, which is where.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah.
It was that was my first like proper go in the music industry. Is that Ministry of Sound?
I mean, like before you made, surely
No, that was it. Before that, I'd struggled to really find what I knew I wanted to be in the music industry and work in the music business, but I just didn't know in what format.
Oh, okay. I never knew that. So I kind of thought you had a creative flair prior to making a career.
I thought I wanted to be a pop music producer, but I was really bad at producing music, fundamental audio engineering. I couldn't work out what compression was or anything like that.
Right.
I did enjoy working with artists and like listening to what they wanted to create. And then when we had a project, and this was at a uni, when we burnt a project to CD, I enjoyed figuring out what that CD looked like.
Okay.
But I didn't even put the two together and thought, oh, maybe if I'm enjoying that so much, maybe I was just like, oh, this is nice because I get to like release it, even if it was just to students at uni.
So let's get this career path in place then. So Ministry was the first job?
No, I worked as an intern at some indie record labels before then.
Who were they?
There was one called River Rat Records. That was like, this is really indie. This is like, I think they had like 3 artists, and one of the artists was the person who ran the label kind of situation. I was there for about 6 months, I think. And before that, I was just trying to work as a engineer, what are they called? Like a studio runner, stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's touch on Ministry then. How was that?
I think it was probably the most like informative part of the journey. It's where I learned the most.
Okay. What did you do there?
So what I still tell people is that I used to make memes for Ministry of Sound. That's always been like, when people say, oh, how did you get into this? I always say, oh, I made memes for memes from Ministry of Sound, because that, in the end, that is essentially what I was doing. I got employed as a marketing assistant, but as Facebook and social media grew, my role was basically, what meme can I make this week?
Yeah.
But that was really enjoyable.
But you didn't keep doing that. It evolved into something more than that, didn't it? Or maybe not.
No. I enjoyed trying to work out how to make my own meme, not making myself a meme, but like I guess it was like content creation before Instagram.
Before it even existed?
Yeah, before it was
amazing.
A couplet of words.
Because obviously this was in compilations, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a specific part of Ministry.
Yeah.
How else were you then involved in the creative process outside of just memes?
Well, I was briefing actual creative people.
Like James Worsley?
Yeah. To make album artwork and ads and things like that.
Yeah.
That was also like really significant, because it meant that I knew how to communicate with other creative people and feedback and collaborate and develop an idea together.
Any particular projects that stand out for you?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, the one that I think fondly of is a compilation called Grime Time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That was a corker. Was that your doing?
Yeah.
Was it?
Well, I didn't come up with the concept.
Okay. That's what I meant.
Yeah, no. I never came up with the concepts. I tried.
Okay.
But they weren't...
I thought you were going to say Sleeping is Cheating with Tom Zanetti.
That was another one I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But that was like, I feel like if this was a TV series, it would start with the Grime one, because
it's a cracker.
It would like
there's even there's a YouTube video for Grime Time with you in it.
Yeah. That's what
was that? Interviewing people.
So the video is called Getting Girls with Grime. Probably in this context of today, you wouldn't think to suggest doing that, because essentially you're approaching people in the street.
Yeah.
And I had a list of Grime lyrics in my iPhone notes, and I would just approach girls and basically chat them up, but only use Grime lyrics to do that. But I showed someone that this week, because we're talking about content and like how intrusive TikTok content can be sometimes. Mm-hmm. And they said like they would see that on TikTok today.
Oh,
and
and
again, it
wouldn't
be problematic. Well, it would, but
not that it was ahead of its time, because that format has always worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a corker. Great album. And
that was really enjoyable. And like that was when I was like, I realized I can edit really quick, because I filmed that and then edited it the same day and then delivered it the next day, and then people were like celebrating my name.
Chanting Benji.
Yeah, basically, not literally, but metaphorically in my head.
Okay, so Ministry. So obviously, how long was your stint there?
The indie version of Ministry, probably 2 years, and then the Sony version, half a year, 6 months.
That's what I was going to get onto. So you were there as part of the acquisition.
Yeah.
Sony acquires Ministry of Sound. We go over. How did you find that dynamic of the kind of very much independent label culture to major label culture?
I struggled because what I enjoyed so much about the indie version of Ministry, and what I still enjoy to this day, is being able to kind of hip hop.
Yeah, no, I can't help you.
Like go from project to project or skill to skill.
Yeah.
And just like, and if something comes along, like a new format of entertainment, like short form content or memes, being able to be like, oh, I'm just going to try that for a second and see if I can like get into it. Well, you can't. It didn't really feel like you could do that when I was at Sony for the 6-month period, because it was all very much like, you're here to do this set of jobs, which is all good. I get that.
Okay, so you left Ministry after how many years in total?
About 2.5, I think.
2.5
maybe
years,
3.
and maybe 3. You go straight to First Access.
Yeah, First Access.
How was
Entertainment.
that transition for you, going from Ministry to First Access?
They thought I worked for the label's version of Ministry.
Oh boy,
I've never said this actually.
Yeah. Did you tell them you did?
No, they kept asking me about London Grammar. And
Right, okay.
I'd be like, well, it was a different time, and like these artists are, different people, they've got a good fan base, and blah, blah. Yeah, I was able to finesse my I was able to lie, I think.
Okay, and we all do.
Yeah, that's okay.
In CVs and stuff.
I didn't put it in my CV.
Didn't put it in the CV.
No, I just said Ministry of Sound.
Right.
And I did put compilations actually.
Okay, there.
So I was quite specific.
Yeah. What was the role at First Access?
Marketing manager.
Right. Okay, an upgrade. And so but then how did the actual day-to-day differ from what you were doing at Ministry?
It was what I wanted more of, which was like one-on-one relationship with artists. And what I really enjoyed, which some might find limiting, is the fact that when they would sign an artist, there would be budget, but there wouldn't be major label, or even to a degree indie label budget to create music videos for, especially more the development artists of signings. But I did enjoy talking to them during that first like stage of signing and working out where they saw their vision going, and if there was £500 on the table, knowing in my head, okay, I've got 2 roles here. I've got to develop their idea for £500, and I've got to be a marketing manager still.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to, basically, I didn't know at the time, like be the creative director for some of the ideas, even if it was as simple as like a lyric video, and then create the lyric video for the amount of budget. And also always have my hat on of like, okay, why am I actually doing this? The reason is because it needs to be good marketing rather than it needs to look creatively good. And then that's kind of what evolved into amitybloc.
Good segue.
Thanks, dude.
So again, how long was the First Access stint?
That wasn't, maybe that was 2 years. Yeah. Just after Frank Ocean.
And then...
just to clarify.
Go on.
I see my life based on when Frank Ocean dropped Blonde, and then...
Is that okay? Because you didn't work on it?
Just to be clear.
Okay, fine.
I had no involvement in that
Brilliant.
album.
amitybloc then. How did this come about?
So I really enjoyed working with artists. I didn't at the time feel like the artists that were being signed to First Access Entertainment, I didn't feel like they were signing the artists that they weren't signing at a rate that meant I could always see forward kind of thing. It always felt like we were a little bit slower than what my brain was working at.
Right.
Which in reflection, maybe if they were to hear that, they'd be like, yeah, but you never like reply to emails or whatever. But I just mean that like, I really enjoyed working with artists and working out their direction, and those opportunities weren't coming as quickly enough as I'd like. So then I started to apply to jobs on, what was that website Creative Commission.
Oh, is it
Have
on? Is that the? I didn't know they had a job section, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Creative Commission.
Yeah.
So sorry, you mean like briefs?
Briefs. I started to apply to briefs.
Yeah.
Creative Commission.
Yeah.
And these briefs would be like artwork or lyric videos or things like that. And I was doing that basically, what's it called? Like moonlighting.
That is what it is, yeah.
Yeah. I'd go home from First Access Entertainment and then I'd get to my emails and be like, okay, I've got 8 hours of work to do now. And then there would be days where I'd go into First Access knowing that I've only slept half an hour, and I slept on like the CEO's sofa at one point when they were away. Yeah. And I was just like, this needs to stop. Luckily, a contract came in, ironically from Ministry of Sound, but part of Ministry of Sound that didn't know me. So there was no like, it's Benji. In fact, they didn't know Benji and amitybloc were the same thing. So it was a really like strange time in my life. Yeah. But so I was able to accept that contract, and then I just took the risk of leaving First Access with that contract, even if that contract meant that it wasn't enough to go by for like a month of living, but it was enough to be like, I need to stop trying to do two things at once and just commit. Time to commit. And then lockdown happened.
Yeah. How long were you moonlighting? Do we need to go into detail?
No, 6 months probably.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was maybe even longer. And I didn't know what amitybloc was at the time when it was being created. I think about the first logo, it was just like it was awful because I didn't do anything other than make the email address. Yeah. With the intention of being like, I just need people to know it's not Benji from First Access or Benji from the old Ministry or whatever like that. I just needed something. And I didn't want to put like Derek at gmail.com. So I just, amitybloc came up. Okay.
And so I guess, how long has amitybloc been around now?
Since, I registered the company in 2019, November 2019.
Okay.
11th of the 11th. I'll always remember.
And let's touch on some of the campaigns that you've worked on. I know there's been some decent ones recently, some potential award winning.
Well, yeah, the music videos, a music video got nominated. Yeah. Which was cool.
Yeah. Which was for?
Someone called Flower of Love. Mm-hmm. Is that what you were getting at?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Flower of Love. And that was really cool.
Why?
Because it was just a really good example of what I like to do. Because that music video, have you seen? Mm-hmm. Just in case you forgot, mm-hmm. It's we were gonna film in her school, but she couldn't. And like last minute, she was like, "We can't film in the school. The school won't let us." So we just took a desk from the school and put wheels on it. She sat behind the desk and we just pushed it along London and filmed that. And that was great. And I didn't think too much of it, but then it became this like good example of what I think, I guess the future of music videos could be, where it's like, it's not really narrative. The need for like a narrative video, especially for development artists, might not be as integral as they once were. And it now,
do you mean the narrative in a music video or the music video?
The like a story within a music video. And maybe it's just about making sure that the audience's attention are always looking at the main thing, which is the artist performing, and trying to sustain that. And I think about, what was that video? The Verve Bittersweet Symphony, which is like one of my favorite music videos because it's so simple, but it's very, very memorable. And the only narrative of that is that he's walking down the street and he's pushing people away. Yeah. And the Flower of Love desk video was my version of that, where it's just like one concept and very simply done, and you just go away remembering the artist, and that's all I really want to care about, I think.
So let's talk about the process of you making music videos. How that go? Do you enjoy it? And also I want to know, where you sort of touched on it there. Where does the music video sit now in terms of like its value? Like, obviously, because there were very big budgets spent on music videos, I kind of feel like maybe that's not the case anymore. And is the music video potentially something that's becoming more and more obsolete? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I would like to say first, I don't consider myself a music video director.
What do you consider yourself as?
I like editing videos.
Right.
Since making memes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like doing, editing. I don't consider myself a music video director. And when you know how I was saying before, like, to an artist I'd call amitybloc a creative studio, to a label client I'd say a creative agency. To myself, it's more of like an ad agency, because I see music videos, and this might not be the most like healthiest way of looking at pieces of art, but I see it as forms of advertising an artist, and essentially it's promoting an artist, right? So whenever I think about a music video, I try not think about the lyrics, I try not think about what like artistic vision I'd like to pursue. I would just like to think about what would make a good advert, essentially, which is why I don't consider myself a music video director. I just want to make good promotional assets, but I would never say that to an artist who are like, we're coming to you for your music video ideas. And I'd be like, well, I'm here to make assets. That's not, but at the end of the day, that is, music videos are promotional materials. And I think it's about delivering a message in the most clear, direct way possible.
Okay. So, and to the question I had then is like, what is the future of the music video?
Yeah. So going back to that, the Verve, like I think about if the Verve were a new band today, what would their TikTok look like? Which is,
yep.
But their TikTok thing would be walking down the road, pushing people away.
Yeah.
They might not be liked about it, because that's quite an arrogant thing to do, but their thing would be that. So I like to kind of reverse and think, okay, if I've got a music video to do, now I look back and I'm thinking about the music videos I have done and how many of them wouldn't work on short form platforms, and how that makes them weaker. What was your question?
The future of the music video.
Oh, well, that's still up to debate. And I think that...
Well, no, and I'm not going to... I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on it.
I think, and this is where, like, I changed the amitybloc, like, about page a week ago. And I added short form content agency.
Okay, right. Yeah, you crumbled. Okay, fine.
I didn't crumble. I listened. But the thing is, I think it is, and I think people are finding this more common. It's difficult to find creative people who value short form content as much, or if not more, than long form piece of content like music videos.
You think people value long
form
content more than short form?
I think creative people are more inclined to see long form videos as a way of expressing something, which is fair enough, because...
What would you say about the end consumer, though, the person that's watching it?
Well, I think currently people are very like focused on short form, but the sense of community is suffering because of that. So I hope that in the future, the craving to attach yourself to an artist rather than a TikTok page will come back, and we will see the return of long form again for development artists and such.
Let's quickly touch on some of the artist campaigns that you worked on.
Right.
Giving some, maybe record labels as well. Who have you worked with?
My favorite, you didn't ask them favorite.
I didn't, but you can, let's go.
Well, the one that comes to, I really liked working, there was an H campaign for his merchandise, which I really enjoyed. That was like a shopping channel. He had an album called Close to Home. The idea was to do like a close to home TV, QVC style shopping channel. And apparently that was very successful for their digital marketing ads, because it kind of like dressed up promotional, like the soulless idea of promoting merch, and then just dressed it up as something that is more like storytelling. And then other things have been, I've really enjoyed working on a band called Bad Bad Not Good, and they had a website that was all to do with a TV, and your iPhone could be the remote control for that TV on your desktop, which was really fun.
Okay.
As well.
So I would say you've always been very good with your ideas, right? Creative ideas.
People might say that. Yeah. No, I enjoy making ideas.
Is that what, because obviously now you're involved with the EMI camp, was that part of the reason, or the reason that they decided to bring you on board?
I'm not sure specifically. I like to think the ideas was part of it, but I think a lot of labels just need more support from other areas other than people who are permanently within the building. I think.
Well, you mean like outside the bubble?
Yeah. But having said that, the more I work with EMI, the more I feel like it's been a very valuable way of like listening to what labels want.
And so can we touch on how the EMI thing came about?
I just got a phone call
from. You don't know? Okay.
I'm not sure.
I assumed it was Rory, but
yeah. How do you know Rory?
Just because he's head of creative there, isn't he?
Yeah. So yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been working with EMI for the past since March.
So
March, April, May.
Let's stay here then. You've gone from
down.
Independent ministry to major label Sony ministry. You've gone back to First Access, started amitybloc, and then you've gone back, dipped your toe back into the major label world.
Look at who's back. Is that what you're saying?
So, really what I was getting at is you've Sony, Universal, you've worked at both of the kind of main
I haven't worked with Warner yet.
No.
Oh, like I worked with Warner a little bit,
but I guess you've actually worked, like you're in the office at
Universal. I like to be. I think being present is really is really important. Probably more important than a nice website.
Are you able to kind of draw any kind of comparisons between the way that the labels work with Sony and Universal?
No, they all work slightly different, but I think everyone, including people outside, including indie labels and including people outside of labels, including management companies and promoters, everyone is still constantly adapting. And I think it's whoever, I think the sense of urgency of needing to adapt is what kind of pushes everyone along. But I think people are still looking for direction, including myself.
I've got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Do you know what EMI originally stood for?
No.
Electric.
I was going to say electric.
Musical industries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't changed.
No.
What else did you find out about?
That was it. That was it. That's the only thing I've got. What is your role at EMI, and how does it work with, obviously you've got the amitybloc thing going? So
it's not as if like a brief comes in and it goes directly to amitybloc. I'm just a consultant, I guess.
Okay.
So I guess one way of looking at it is I work full time at amitybloc, and I consult at EMI, and that's basically a lot of conversations, a lot of making PDFs and presenting stuff as well, which harks right back to what I did in Ministry of Sound Indie.
Mr. Meme.
Just presenting stuff, which I enjoy. So,
can you touch on maybe some of the campaigns that you've worked on whilst you'd be at EMI? I guess now you're there, you know who the big artists are for them, the priority artists, I should probably say. What's the sitch? What's going on? Yeah,
they've got some really good artists. They signed May Stevens, which if we ever broke up, and someone Katie Baser. But it goes right up to bands like Take That and things like that. They've got a big roster, and also Lewis Capaldi. No, I've not really worked on that.
Okay.
And there was a track called Rave Out with Skepsis and Charlotte Plank and Tano.
Okay.
That was one of the first jobs that I got handed. That was really good.
TikTok. I want to touch on TikTok because obviously it's kind of at the center of everything that the music industry is doing at the moment. What's your take on TikTok and from a kind of a creative stroke, like a content creation perspective? From me, like the work that we've
What are you
worked
trying
on
to say, Dan?
the work that we worked on together has been like very high end, very polished, right?
Thank you.
And then, but now it kind of feels like when in the world of TikTok, there's not the requirement for that. The kind of UGC type content is what there's more of a demand of. What do you think? What's your take?
I think TikTok and other short form platforms such as Instagram Reels.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's another one which I got told today.
Shorts?
No, it's another one. Can't remember what it's called. Silly. Anyway, I think they are. I think I was with everyone else at the start where I was like pushing it, like when it was 2020 and all it was dancing. In fact, before that, I'm ashamed to say that when I was at First Access and it was called Musically.
Yeah. Oh, you're an early adopter then?
No, there was a group at First Access Entertainment and they were like, oh, do you think we should use Musically? And I was like, nah, it's never going to catch on. So when I said I'm no expert, I meant I make mistakes all the time. But yeah,
how's it impacted the type of content that you're making? Surely there's a difference to what you're making now versus what you were making. That said, obviously you were talking about the meme thing. That was
basically I think recently I've realized what my calling is, which goes back to when I used to make memes at Ministry of Sound.
Yeah.
They sort like when I first started amitybloc, I was really like imposter syndrome, like every day looking at other creative people. People like Jack Bridgeland, incredible photographer, and being like, okay, well, next year I'm going to have to start doing photography. It's the only way. And then realizing that, oh, maybe my calling isn't to be really good at photography or music video direction or editing even. It's just to be really good at putting together, dare I say it, assets again. In a way that is easily digestible, going back to the meme days. And now realizing I was like, oh, I guess short form platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels are now just a vehicle to communicate in a way that you don't need. There's no like imposter syndrome as much as it was on, what Instagram used to be. So that's the way I see it.
Okay.
It's been good. But I'm still struggling with it.
I think everyone is, aren't
they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
So this leads me on to, I want to say the evolution of amitybloc. Don't know if that's the right.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
amitytok.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Little T-shirt there.
Yeah. Represent, join amitytok.
What's amitytok? How did that come about?
Amitytok came about because I kept getting briefs sent to me that weren't familiar. They were.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll develop my point. They were not music videos. I used to also go to like gigs and do videography and stuff like that very occasionally. But they weren't that. They were like, oh, we need someone to go here. We might need a videographer, but we don't need like a videographer with kit. We need it with like someone with a phone will do. We just need to know that they're good and they can deliver and all this sort of like stuff we definitely need. Do you know anyone? I was like going through the people I know thinking, like, I know videographers who they take care of their kit and they come with a price tag because of their skill level. But I can't possibly tell them that the budget's only this amount, knowing that really it should be like triple figures or more for the work. And those briefs just kept coming in and I kept having to reject them, being like, well, this isn't a music video, it's not artwork, it's not a campaign, they don't want ideas, they just need people on the ground. And then realizing, mainly because they were like, oh, it could be anyone with a phone, and being like, oh yeah, it could be anyone with a phone, and everyone has a phone. So it's just a case of needing to collect everyone with a phone who was willing to be part of the music industry and be part of campaigns, which is a lot of people.
So the thing when you first told me about
amitytok.
Tok,
Yeah.
I struggled to originally understand what the concept of it was.
Oh, how come?
Well, because we probably didn't explain it very well.
Yeah, I'm not good at explaining.
So, well,
I have to do it through
well, you're gonna have to now.
I'm sure you've seen the ads on TikTok for amitytok.
I have. They're very, very good. It is a very, very good idea, but there's lots of good ideas. It's all obviously all about the execution.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you were to explain amitytok in one sentence to a 16-year-old, what would you say?
To a 16-year-old, they can't join. So probably not to a 16-year-old.
Okay, 18.
18-year-old. I would say, and this is one of the drafts that I did for one of the ads. Record labels need content. You can shoot that content. There we go.
And that's it.
That's basically it.
Okay.
Or maybe I should develop that.
But get paid for it.
Yeah, sorry, I missed out the key bit.
What's the tagline? You've got to
monetize the moment.
Yes.
Record labels will pay for content.
Yeah.
You can supply that content and get paid for it.
Okay.
And that's
okay. So it's still not a sentence, but I got a better. Yeah. Nikesh, do you understand what he's talking about? Yeah, good. Okay.
Maybe I should try and think of another way of saying it.
It just needs like a sentence. Do you know what I mean?
The way I see it is influencers are like butterflies, and you might have a praying mantis influencer, a beautiful moth influencer. amitytok is a hive of bees.
Okay. Okay.
Does that sound cheesy?
It doesn't. It makes me more confused now. Now I don't know what it is again.
Okay. It's like it goes back to the origin of like street teams.
Okay, I thought you were going to say memes at ministry again. Okay. AI content creation. Obviously there's like the basic. There's ChatGPT, right? A lot of people use, and that's kind of like what everyone knows about in the AI world. There's Midjourney, right? There's Runway. Do you see AI as a threat or an opportunity?
I think that's still to be settled. I got into it late last year.
How are you?
Midjourney, just making like club photos, basically. It was really cool. But
have you developed into the kind of the image to video?
Nah, I think the same thing that's happening with it that's happened with not Bitcoin. NFTs.
Yeah.
Like that was hype for like 3 months. And it's still trying to find its like normal place. And I think probably the same is happening with the AI, where like on Twitter and stuff, I'm seeing like, oh, look at these incredible photos or images that are generated. But it just feels less special in a way. With every new generation, it's less special. So I guess maybe, hopefully, it'll just make non-AI more special because it's less common.
Are you utilizing AI to produce some of your work at the moment?
No,
not at all.
No.
Is it something that you're?
I actually, I confess. Can I
go on?
I have used it when I'm like, I'm not communicating in a clear way. Let me just.
What do you mean, like an email and you bang it into ChatGPT?
Let me remove the emotion out of this email or whatever. Let me just say what's the information. Or sometimes I just mess up my grammar.
Okay.
So I think that's okay to use it like that, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I would say so. But there's so much more to it. I'd have thought, you've said you've dabbled with Midjourney. There's I think.
Yeah. I mean, people have tried.
Okay. So at the moment, you don't really utilize it to produce any work for, let's say, clients or what
No,
you're doing?
I think I wouldn't.
Because I guess
I've actually have upscaled some stuff because of it. But I don't think that counts.
Okay. Well, I guess so.
Generative fill.
Yeah.
For clouds.
Okay. Yeah.
But Photoshop always had like sky replacement.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Like,
anyway,
saying,
I guess to that point, but I wouldn't deliver like, hey, here's artwork and it's all AI. Maybe it's just a tool.
Okay. Amitybloc, great outfit. I think amitytok, it's a great idea.
But
no, there's no but. I think EMI, they're onto a winner with having you on board. Like I said, second best creative I've ever worked with. So, yeah, you'll probably smash it, won't you?
Do you not think I currently have?
I think you have smashed it. Listen, you're doing your own thing. You've got your own business. You've got your own offshoot. Yes, it's massive. Isn't it?
I'm most excited about amitytok, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah. Just need that sentence, and then we're. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Thought to explain what it is. You know what I mean?
You can monetize the moment.
Okay.
Turn your camera roll into a bankroll.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Any more?
I have loads of them, but I haven't trademarked them yet.
All right, Benji. Nice one. Thanks a lot. That's it. We're done.